I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about now. Like our parents doing it now. Like this generation of parents now. Yeah, right, probably right. They will do that. But like growing up, and oh man, nah. Alright guys, welcome back to another fresh episode. You know how we do. So today I'm still with my guy. I'm sure you guys watched the last episode and it made sense. Yeah, so today we are not doing a reaction. Today we're just going to talk about something very interesting, you know. So you guys just take, you know how we do.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So we had a conversation a few days ago and a very interesting topic actually, if you ask me. So it's kind of weird, right? Generally speaking, when it comes to public display of affection, right? And I'm not talking just between people that are intimately involved. I'm talking like amongst family members, right? So we're having a conversation and a very interesting question. So we just wanted to put this question out there and then get the conversation going. So the question for today is really very interesting. Alpha, how many times your papa don't tell you saying love you?
Oh boy, why? Oh boy.
So that's the conversation we're having, and it turns out more often than not, we go through most of our lives without having, any form of affirmation from our parents. With respect to like verbal, affirmations, right?
Maybe now, but like we're growing up and stuff now.
Now, as an old reach like this.
No. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about now, like our parents doing it now. Like this generation of parents now. Yeah, right, probably right. They will do that. But like growing up, and man, nah. Even my mom. My mom will be my guy. I'm not sure say my mom, she don't ever tell me say I love you or something. Nah, with words you won't really get it. And I think that's very important, because most times.
Is it so?
Yeah, I feel that's very important because most times we just feel like our parents don't love us very much, Then later now you discover that okay, whatever it is that they were doing was out of a place of love. Because like first parenting is hard. Like there's no
formula.
There's no formula to parenting. Parenting is very, very hard, especially when you become when you get to that adolescent age where you feel like everybody's wrong, you're the only person that is right. So at that point, like when the girl gets to puberty, start having, the feminine features and all that, and then guys are coming after her. At that point, it's like, I want to have a boyfriend, or I want to go hang out with friends and all of that. It's like, sit down, like don't go anywhere, but it's very difficult because they will not listen. Then for the guys as well, the same thing. So that period is very, very hard, and that's when, for fathers for instance, that's when they become very harsh because it's discipline, just like sit down, they'll ground you, you're not going out, this and that. For a kid, the kid is going to perceive that as hate. I don't know, for some reason, like you're not going to see that, okay, this is from a place of love. But
then they do grounding for our village.
I mean, for my side, they grounding, they don't beat you, they will whip you.
They just touch you small. Introduce some sense to your system.
They don't beat you. And a community beating, don't be say like, you go there on your own. Person will not know you, will see you, discipline you. Say, I know this person picking with this, you cannot be messing up. Right. They will beat you, So that was of affirmation, man. To go and tell you, like, oh my person tells you I love you, I will suspect them. Until they get this man was send me. You want to send me, I cannot tell me you love me. Nah.
That's gay.
Nah, you're love me.
Nah, but on a serious note, I feel like so obviously, like for most people that I know, people who grew up in Nigeria, it's not commonplace for you to have obviously there's always exceptions to the rule, right? So I guess there's some people who in their house is normal for them, or in their families it's like pretty normal for them to say things like that. But I think generally speaking, there's a lot of things that as a kid you would disagree with your parents about. But now you see yourself having the same opinions or having the same take. So I think that's just I mean, it's just different. The older you get the reality hits you differently. So you start to see things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
You know, but as a society, I think we've not been able to, for some reason, we've not been able to express verbally, you know, how we feel about our kids. Of course, we expect the best for them. We want the best for them. We push them and try to get them to excel, you know, in whatever, you know, endeavors. But we don't know how to express, you know, verbally or physically how much, you know, we love our kids, or at least most people I know didn't get that experience from our families growing up. Yeah. But at the same time, you know, it's like, can you remember what your first relationship I felt like?
Yeah.
I mean, the feeling, like, you know how you're with someone and you don't need to say anything, but they look at you and you can literally tell that, you know, this person really, yeah. That's the feeling that, you know, I get. So, like, for example, right now, me and my parents, I don't need to say anything to them. You know, you just know. Yeah. Like, you just know. So I feel like we just have a different way of expressing it, but there's definitely love. It's not like this.
Yeah, of course, there's definitely love. It's just I don't know, like,
we just express it differently.
You know, kids are very, very useless people. Nah, kids are very useless because most times sitting back, like looking at someone. First things first, kids don't take responsibility, man.
I'm no responsibility.
They don't take accountability for whatever they do. Kids don't. So, for instance, now you see, like, kids always want to blame somebody for their actions. This is just what kids do. So, like, you come back, you are saying something, and then your dad or your mom is like, nah, this shit doesn't make sense, don't do this and all that. But to you feel like, nah, what I'm saying makes sense, what I'm supposed to do makes sense. You go do it now. Obviously, for everything you do now, there is, what's it called now? For
consequence?
For everything you do, there are consequences for it. And when that happens, take them, accept them, like, okay, this is what I did, and because of this, these are the consequences. No, you don't want that. You just look for somebody to blame. Now you start coming up with, hey, my parents did not tell me. Oh, God, go and die. Your parents don't tell you they love you, that's the reason why you're doing this. You know, those type of things. Kids do a lot of those things.
Yeah, but we never had those problems in our society before. I think it's more like an imported culture.
About having for your...
I never met anybody that was messed up and blamed it on their parents.
Whoa.
Growing up.
There are a lot of people.
No, I mean, right now I know, but like, I mean, so the other day I saw on one of these blogs, I saw a post about this girl that was abused by her dad. Oh. And she was abused by her dad for like a long time, and she eventually had to run away. And her mom was like, you know, either didn't believe her or, I don't know, supported. It was a really messed up situation. Yeah. So she was in the house, and the dad would molest her. And when she tried to report, apparently nobody believed her. And I think the way she put it is like her mom was jealous of her and her sister, and her mom eventually ended up cheating on her dad with a younger guy. And it was just a whole messed up situation. But she's strong now and this. So there's two things. This is my personal opinion, right? Right. Two things. There's a lot of things that have been happening, you know, in our societies. But you know how we have this saying where it's like, don't wash your dirty linen in public, right? So a lot of things get covered up. Even if you look at our mothers, like a lot of women go through a lot in their marriage. Yeah. But as a society, it was this whole thing where it's like, just, you know, grow up and, you know, I mean, that comes with the territory, basically. So a lot of women suffer in silence because there's a stigma of divorce, right? Yeah. So you don't want to be divorced. Even when you go back to your parents and complain, like, okay, no, this man is not treating me right and all that, they'll ask you to go back to your husband's house. Yeah. So we have that part, but then there's also the part where, like, now because we've got social media, a lot of things get amplified. A lot of things get amplified. Yeah, so there's some, I'm not saying like most of these things are new. We probably just never heard of them because as a society we always like to, you know, keep things on the cover. We don't want to expose whatever problems we have in our families, you know, for fear of stigmatization. But at the same time now it's like everybody has a problem. I mean, you know how many times people just break up and go on the internet to cry? Yeah. You know, it's like, I've never understood that phenomenon. Like that's what we see right now. So I feel like maybe it's just being amplified because of the internet, right? Yeah, actually. But in all honesty, I don't know anybody growing up who was messed up and it was because of some situation in their houses, you know, or lack thereof.
You said it now. Yeah, it's probably yes. No, that's the thing. Probably they had those issues because of what was going on at home, but because like
nobody talks about those
things. Nobody talked about that. Who were they going to even say that to?
Right.
Yeah, are you going to say it to your uncle or who are you going to say it to? Nobody. So it's just like those things just happen. But like once the home is not settled, like it really tells on the kids, you know.
Right. So, but I mean, what do you think? Do you think our way of doing things is better than the so-called Western way of doing things?
No, of course.
Like, do you
not.
feel like, I mean, so
In
there's
all
people who
form,
would
that's
argue,
the one thing that at least we have.
right? But there's people who would argue right now, like, you know, we need to be more expressive in the way we love our kids. We need to be more, like, the way we discipline our kids. People want them to be like a little less relaxed, as opposed to how.
Man,
So, like, you know how you be that year now. If you get away with your mama, you just look you, your popsicle, you just look you.
that's how I'm going to.
That's communication.
That's how I'm
Like,
going to raise my kids, man. Fuck that shit, man. That's how I'm going to raise my kids, man. Trust me, I'll go weep. See, the truth of the matter is, like, as a child, what do you want to do to a child? For instance, now, a child has messed up, right? You want to spank the child. I'm not saying go and kill the child. Small sense here. Don't introduce 2%. 2% sense, give the pikin, you know, easy. Now, when the child starts growing up, then at that point you can tell the child, okay, you're not going to use the car today. You're not going to go out see your friends today. The child, at that point, the kid will understand. It's because of what I did. That's why I'm not going to be able to drive.
Also, you want to use a reward
Exactly.
technique.
Exactly. Now, but that gets to a certain age where the kid can understand that. When a small kid at 5 was, but the only thing that kid can listen to is small whipping. The kid is 5 years, and the kid probably wants to take ice cream, and you're trying to punish the kid. What do you want the kid to do? You are telling the kid you're not going to give him or her ice cream at 5, like. To what end? Like, you know, so when you spank the kid, next time the kid will realize that, okay, now I'm not supposed to do it. But you can still give the kid the ice cream and all that. But growing up, now the kid has sense. So at that point now, you can reason with this kid. Okay, you're not going to, if you do this, I'm not going to give you this. If you don't do this, I'm not going to give you this. So at that point, it makes sense. But me, like, man, growing up, no, me, they whip me. They whip me. As a matter of fact, me, I was even the last kid, so I would not even say I really got the whipping like my elder ones did. Because for me, it was more like Pops was already getting tired, so maybe don't really say. And my other brother, man, that nigga is still chill. Like, you don't even send yourself, just do what's right. If you're messing up, he will call you and talk to you, you know. But like, say whip you and all that now. So, but all this whole thing that is happening right now, you have to talk to a kid, you can't whip a kid. When we were growing up, if you are stubborn, they will send you to school. Go there. But now, you can't even punish a kid, you know,
teachers can't do much.
all that bullshit. I don't know, but no.
I mean, personally, I feel like it's it's nature versus nurture, right? So some people are naturally stubborn. Yeah. Right. But I mean, I've not. I don't know. Fortunately or unfortunately, I never really got I never got whipped as a kid. So personally, I don't subscribe to it. But that doesn't mean that you cannot discipline a child. Yeah. Right? There's so many other ways. Like, I would take a different approach. I personally would take a different approach. You see, kids, a lot of times are, you know, they're like a blank slate. They turn into whatever you mold them to be. Okay. That's that's the way it works most of the time. So, but then again, you also have to consider nature, right? So, but ultimately, I feel like nurture plays like a bigger role in the way a kid turns out. So you might not necessarily whip the kid, but you can always, so for example, you have a toddler who's crawling around or who's, you know, trying to put something in his mouth and all that stuff. You try to stop him to cry. Yeah, but they understand that you don't want them to do that. Yeah. And if you let them cry or, you know, you pet them after, you know, they start to cry, but you still insist on making sure that they don't put that stuff in their mouth. Right. Eventually they'll get the message. You know, that's the way I look at it. So it's the same thing as a kid growing up. A lot of times when you me personally now, it's just like scolding or, you know, talking to me, or if you say you want to flog me. Okay, so my parents didn't whip me, but we all of us go boarding school now. Yeah, exactly. So go boarding school, but me, I was a chester when I was in school. Yeah, but you go collect. You understand? No, now they tell you now, like I was. You go chester, but you go chester now. So at that point, it was like nothing. I was never afraid of any of my seniors, ever. Like literally, I didn't fear any of my seniors. I wouldn't say like I had like maybe one or two guys who, you know, just like me for some reason, and you know, I had some issues with them or whatever. But I don't dodge one senior before for like a whole term. I swear. I dodged the guy. I dodged the guy the whole
no.
time, and I still set the guy up. I still fucked the guy up.
Very useless.
Legally
Small,
and illegally.
Small. I don't even know where we got all those things.
So I set the guy up with his own seniors, and then I still set him up with school.
Oh,
You understand?
okay.
Yeah. So I be that kind of guy. Like I did move, I did move militant. You feel me? So like I been get guys who be say, of course, like junior class now, just one, just two, all those things like that. Hey, you get guys with each other. I was a chester, like I like to talk,
Yeah.
So all those names of noisemakers, they just say, okay, class monitor, come and do names of noisemakers. You have to go write my name number one.
First.
So that there's no issue. Like for the avoidance of doubt, my name shall make it onto that list. You feel me? So I was that kind of kid, But like the whipping I got in school, personally, change anything. I did everything that I wanted to do. Like fuck, I'm sorry, man. But like all seniors be damned. Like I been not saying any of those people, man. I been not saying them.
That's basically it. I don't know, but the whole parenting is hard, man.
Yeah, like you said, it's very, very. There's
there's
no right way or wrong. There's no manual for parenting.
That's why when I see anything happens online, and the first thing that happens is, the mom didn't do this, the dad didn't like. I'm like, man, guy, chill. Wait till you have your own kids, then you understand. Because parenting is hard. There's no manual to parenting, and you need the mother figure, you need the father figure, because it's a whole different component now. So you bring the whole yin and yang, mix it together. Because the dad is the one who will speak sense to the kid. If the kid falls down now, the general instinct of the dad is like, young man, get up, The general instinct for the mom is to get the kid, pet the kid, kiss where it hurts, all of that stuff, and that brings that balance, So if it's only the dad, for instance, and it's just being all, try to toughen up, try to be strong, the kid might feel like, oh man, my dad doesn't love me and all that, Now, if the mom is just the only one, trying to, it will not make the kid tough enough for the world, because the world is a very rugged place, you get. So parenting is hard. That's why most times it's more or less like grandparents is like they're the best at parenting, but it took them time. Because my brother, hey God, there was a time my brother's kid, the guy messed up. I swear, this guy messed up. Pops, he said, no.
You shocked him.
So
is this the same? Yeah.
He said, don't touch him now. I said, God, if this shit happened, what's gonna cut your head now? But you understand this is better, like when they also get older and all of that, because obviously they made mistakes here. They will sit back and look at it like, no. It'd be like, I don't do this thing well, But like, for my dad to come out and say sorry, he might realize that yes, he messed up. He'll just come. Hey, what's up? Come. Okay, go and buy this. Okay, keep the change. Yeah, that's his way of apologizing. But to come out and say, I'm sorry. Sorry for what?
No. Okay, well, look, I guess we all had different experiences. I was lucky enough to meet your dad, and well, let's just say I had a very different experience, with my dad. Honestly, if you ask me, I feel like my dad is probably one of the greatest people ever.
Yeah.
That's honestly how I feel, like genuinely.
Yeah.
But in reality, I also feel like this. They came at a time when the world was a much better place. That's the way I think.
Yeah, fact.
That's the way I think. And what I've come to realize is, like, having been out here, being around, there's no good players, man. It's like, imagine going out in the jungle and hoping to find a nice lion.
Yeah.
It's a dog-eat-dog world, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's survival of the fittest. That's
right.
the fundamental, principle. We all have survival instincts, but all of it is driven by the concept of survival of the fittest. If you realize that and you go out there, then you can conquer, then you can achieve, you can really get to your full potential. But I feel like a lot of people don't really understand how competitive it is out here, how competitive the world really works. There's no nice guys, man.
Right now,
but if you lose God, you will sleep on top bicycle.
Right now, it's different.
Imagine a country like Nigeria.
It's different.
All the major actors that we have today, these guys have been around. Tinubu no be today. Tinubu begin talk about politics. Atiku them no be today. You can't look at the 1993, the 92 elections and the June 12 elections they're talking about. These guys were all active part of that.
Even sorry, there's a picture now Tinubu of
Sorry was a student
right?
leader at the time.
So they've been calling.
The Mabella, them all those guys one day. Then 99 set very serious competition for them to be able to end up in those positions.
Right.
And that's really how life works, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's just that.
So the whole I don't know, but I don't know. It's just it has different effects on the kids, you know, coming out. Because for you go out there and then you see, guy, when we did school, right? You see some guy, any small thing, don't begin cry. They wonder like, oh my God, what's up now? This small thing here, and then they cry. They will just tassy you small, yab you, know. Kids will always bully kids now. They don't bully you small, they yab you, small yabbing.
Kids don't get conscience.
Kids, small yabbing, they go down begin cry. Say they yab me, I will tell my mommy, I will tell my God, like, who get that time, you know? But when they toughen you up, you go know, say, oh boy. You say, because just like you said, now you run from senior for, yeah, you know, man, secondary school back there was hustle.
Boarding school.
All these kids will come up with different backgrounds from different places, carry and come, and oh boy, what they be the thing for their heads, I don't know, but they go bully you for guy, like they go visit you. Your pops is still they wait for you, may just go drop your first set of props. Come, as they go, they don't fair obtain you before you go back. So all those type of things, but like if you get that kind street OT, you still know so, but this world not be so easy, and then your help. So parents still love us though, but that whole affirmation, no, I love you, you know I love you, you know me, I don't get that shit coming up. Makes sense for anybody, it makes sense for them, but I don't really think that's.
You still turned out fine, or not?
I mean, noticed it.
Nothing does you.
I don't risk them as anything, you know. So that's that anyway. So just basic now to conclude, you know. Again, like if you like what we do, you subscribe, hit the notification button, you know, every Saturday our videos are going to be dropping, and as it's dropping, you know, you get a notification, you come watch, support us, whatever conversation you have, whatever reaction you want to get to the reaction or whatever we are doing, continue the conversation in the comments, you know. Alright, so understand.